These are called rational equations. Rational equations have equal signs. As opposed to finding the lowest common denominator and working with fractions, your goal is to get rid of the fractions. So we're going to find an LCM instead of LCD. It's the same concept, what they go into. So when you find an LCM or LCD, you're playing the same game of what's in common and what's left. When there's no plus or minus signs for your denominators, in other words, they're all monomials, one term, you just do normal fractions. What is the lowest common denominator of 3 and 6? And the answer is 6. In other words, 3 goes into 6 and 6 goes into 6. I'm going to do the same thing with the variables. What goes into x, that goes into x squared, and the rule is x squared. Lowest common multiple works the normal way for fractions, and then when it comes down to variables, you actually take the highest power, even though it says lowest common multiple. Knowing this fact, what you're going to do is you're going to write each of those terms, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave some space and write a parentheses inside, or actually right next to it. And what this is to indicate is I'm going to multiply each of those terms, the 1 over 6x squared, the 1 over 3x squared, and the negative 1 over x, I can treat it like that, by my lowest common multiple, which is 6x squared. You do this whether it's monomials, binomials, or anything else that's ugly. And now it's just a bunch of canceling. These are the same, they cancel, I get an answer of 1. X squareds are the same, but 3 goes into 6 twice, so I cross that out and write a 2. 2 times 1 is 2. And then minus x and 6x squared, I'm going to take 1x away from x squared, which would leave 1 left. So it's 1 times 6x, which is 6x. Now my goal is to solve this. My goal is getting x by itself. I am going to move what's furthest away, which is that 2. Negative 1 is equal to negative 6x. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. These don't always turn out nice. 2 negatives make a positive. I get 1/6. One condition, whenever you do these things called rational equations, whatever your answer is, you always have to check it for the denominator. So one big no-no with rational equations and expressions is the denominator can't equal to 0. I saw some of the homework that you showed me and it says like x cannot equal 7 or something like that. It's because if I take that number and plug it back in, I shouldn't have 0 on the bottom. So if I just even glance at it, 1/6 is not going to make that become 0. 1/6 is not going to make that 0. 1/6 is not going to make that 0. The only number I can plug in and get 0 for the denominator is 0. So my answer is good.